Have you ever sat quietly and suddenly wondered, where did I go? Why do I feel so lost in my own life? Does your daily routine ever make you feel like you're drifting, just moving from one day to the next, disconnected from your true self? Why is it that even with so many people and choices around us, we sometimes lose sight of who we really are? Imagine a young person who loved painting, but years later, their brushes gathered dust, forgotten behind stacks of work and responsibility. What happened to that part of themselves? Welcome to Wisdom Woven, the place where we gently explore how to truly find yourself again, with Buddhist wisdom as our guiding light. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribes. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world and helps others find this journey too. So don't forget, every day, it's easy to get swept away by the rush, by what family, friends, work, and society expect of us. We start little by little, ignoring our own needs and quiet dreams. Buddhism tells us that losing yourself happens when we cling to roles, routines, and the things we're told we must be. Sometimes we forget who we really are inside matters most, not just what others see. Buddhism speaks of anatta, the idea that there isn't just one fixed self, but a flowing, changing sense of who we are. It's okay to change, and it's okay to return to yourself again and again. Through simple practices, reflection, and gentle steps, we can all rediscover what truly matters to us. In this journey, you'll find practical advice, stories, and gentle encouragement. Whether you're a student, parent, artist, or anyone yearning for meaning beyond the daily rush, this series is for you. Stay with us, and let's learn together how to never lose yourself again. Let's begin. Are you ready to reconnect with your true heart and spirit? Understanding losing yourself, causes and signs. Imagine waking up one morning and looking in the mirror, but the face staring back feels unfamiliar. The person you once knew seems distant, like a shadow slipping away. This feeling of losing yourself is deeper than just forgetfulness or a bad day. It is a quiet unraveling of the connection to your own heart, your own voice, your own spirit. Many of us experience moments or even long periods when we feel like this. But why does it happen? And how can we recognize when we are drifting away from our true selves? Often, losing yourself begins with small signs, subtle changes that seem easy to ignore. Maybe you start to doubt your worth or question your choices without clear answers. Perhaps you feel caught in a routine that no longer feels meaningful, like a leaf carried by the wind with no direction. These feelings can lead to confusion, frustration, and a sense of emptiness. You might feel disconnected from what once brought joy, as if a fog has settled over your passions and dreams. One common cause is what some call drift syndrome. It happens when life pushes us forward without clear intention or presence. Instead of consciously choosing our path, we let circumstances pull us along. Work, family, and social expectations become the loudest voices in our lives, drowning out our own needs. We become so busy doing that we lose sight of being. In Buddhist understanding, this loss is often tied to attachment, not just to things, but to identities and roles we've accepted as me. When we cling tightly to certain versions of ourselves, the perfect student, the successful worker, the caring parent, we risk losing the fluid and open nature of our true selves. The Buddha taught that the self is not a fixed, unchanging entity but a flowing process, ever-changing and interconnected. Clinging to rigid ideas of who we should be causes suffering. Signs you may be losing yourself include feeling powerless or like your voice no longer matters. You might stop caring about things that once excited you or find it hard to express your true feelings. Sometimes you ignore your own needs to keep others happy, believing that your worth comes from pleasing them. This imbalance often leads to frustration, feelings of invisibility, and loneliness, even when surrounded by people. Another sign is losing boundaries. When you can no longer say no or set limits, your energy and attention get scattered. This can happen slowly, almost invisibly, as you prioritize others' desires over your own well-being. Over time, this self-sacrifice erodes your sense of identity until you ask, "Who am I without all these rules?" Buddhism invites us to look deeply at these moments with kindness and curiosity rather than judgment. The Buddha once remained silent when asked if a permanent self exists, emphasizing that the idea of a solid, unchanging I is an illusion. What remains is a series of moments and experiences, ever shifting, that make up what we call selves. The trap is to grasp too tightly to any one of these moments or rules. Recognizing this allows us to loosen our grip, easing suffering and opening space to rediscover who we are beneath the surface. It is important to remember that losing yourself is not a failure or something to fear. It is part of the human condition, a sign that something inside you is seeking attention and care. Sometimes life's challenges, losses, and changes shake us deeply, causing the ground beneath us to shift. Yet, this disorientation can be a doorway to awakening, a chance to let go of false identities and find the freedom to be more authentic. A story from Zen tradition speaks of a monk who stepped into a darkness so complete that he thought he had lost everything. But in that darkness, he found clarity, an awakening to the truth that he had never truly lost himself. Rather, the fear of losing self was the veil that hid the vastness beneath. Like light shining through a dark room, the self was not gone but waiting to be seen in a new way. So, how do you know if you are losing yourselves? Listen for the quiet whispers in your heart. Feelings of restlessness, confusion, or deep tiredness. Notice if you are living life on autopilot, disconnected from your own desires. Watch for moments when you hide your true feelings or stop making space for your needs. This understanding is the first step toward healing. By being gentle and patient with yourself, you can begin to untangle the knots of expectations and attachments that bind you. Through mindfulness, reflection, and small acts of self-care, you can start coming home to yourself again. Remember, you are not alone in this. Many have walked this path and found their way back to a life of meaning and joy. Losing yourself at times is part of the journey, not the end of it. With every breath, every moment, there is an invitation to return to who you truly are, a being of infinite potential, worthy of love, peace, and freedom. As you move forward in this series, you will discover practical ways to recognize these signs, understand their roots, and gently guide yourself back. The journey may be challenging, but it is also filled with hope and transformation. Let this awareness be a warm light, guiding you through the shadows and helping you step into the fullness of your true self once more. Roots of attachment in Buddhism. Imagine a bird trying to fly, but its wings are heavy with chains made of its own fears and desires. This bird longs to soar freely, yet it remains grounded, caught in what holds it tight. In many ways, this is how attachment works in our lives. Invisible chains that bind us to people, things, thoughts, and feelings, keeping us from being fully present and free. Understanding these roots of attachment is a key step on the path to never losing yourself again. Attachment is a very natural part of being human. From the moment we are born, we learn to hold on to people who care for us, to objects that bring comfort, and to ideas that give us a sense of security. For example, as a child, you may have clung to a favorite toy or a familiar place because it made you feel safe. Those early attachments are part of how we grow and survive. But as life moves on, attachment can become more complicated, and sometimes even harmful, when we start to cling not only to things but also to identities, outcomes, and expectations. In Buddhist understanding, attachment is called tanha, a craving or thirst. It is the desire to have, to hold, or to keep something that we believe will bring us happiness, safety, or acceptance. The heart of this craving is fear. Fear of losing what we love, fear of feeling pain, fear of being alone or insignificant. This fear makes us hold on tightly, sometimes so tightly that we lose sight of what is truly good for us and who we really are beneath the surface. You might see attachment in many forms around you. Could be the hold of success, never feeling enough unless you achieve more. Or attachment to relationships that bring more pain than joy, but leaving them feels impossible because of what you think you'd lose. Sometimes, it is the grip on habits or thoughts that no longer serve your well-being but feel familiar and safe because they are known. The Buddha taught that attachment is one of the main causes of suffering because it creates longing and dissatisfaction. When we cling to something, we create a gap between what is and what we want to be, between reality and our desires. This gap leads to frustration and pain. For instance, if you are attached to the idea of being perfect or always right, even the smallest mistake can feel like a great failure, filling your heart with stress and self-judgment. But attachment is not just about external things. Sometimes we are attached to how we see ourselves. Maybe you feel you must always be kind, successful, or strong. These attachments to identity can trap you in roles that feel heavy and limiting. You might pretend to be someone you are not, hide parts of yourself, or sacrifice your true feelings to keep the image alive. This hidden attachment can quietly steal your joy and peace. The good news is that Buddhist teachings offer a gentle way to loosen these chains of attachment so you can move toward freedom. This starts with awareness, simply noticing where your heart clings and why. Instead of pushing these feelings away or judging yourself for having them, you learn to meet them with kindness and curiosity. By shining the light of mindful attention on your attachments, you take the first step to releasing their hold. A simple practice to begin with is to observe your reactions during the day. When you feel anxious, upset, or restless, ask yourselves, what am I holding on to right now? What fear or desire is driving this feeling? This question isn't meant to blame but to understand. With time, you might see patterns emerge and realize that many of your attachments are like stories you tell yourself, stories that can change. Buddhism also teaches the wisdom of non-attachment, which is not about becoming cold or indifferent, but about opening your heart without grasping. It is like holding a flower gently in your hand. You appreciate its beauty without squeezing so hard that it wilts. This attitude allows you to love and enjoy life fully while accepting that everything changes, and nothing lasts forever. When you practice non-attachment, you begin to see life's ups and downs with less fear and more balance. You realize that losing a job, ending a relationship, or facing disappointment doesn't define your worth. With this freedom, you are less likely to lose yourself because you no longer depend on external things or fixed identities to feel whole. Remember, the journey of releasing attachment is gradual and personal. It asks for patience and self-compassion, just like tending a delicate garden. Sometimes old attachments will reappear, and that is okay. Each time you notice them, you have an opportunity to respond differently, with gentleness, understanding, and a little more freedom. Let me share a story from Buddhist tradition. A monk once was deeply attached to his beloved robe, his symbol of identity and security. One day, the robe was accidentally burnt. At first, he felt great sorrow and loss. But then, he realized that the robe was just an object, and his true self was not tied to it. In that moment, he felt a lightness and peace he had never known before. This story reminds us that what we cling to is often not as permanent or essential as we think. In the next steps of your journey, keep this understanding close to your heart. Notice where attachment shows up in your life, not to shame yourself but to grow in awareness. Practice letting go gently, like a bird learning to release its chains and take flight. With each breath and each moment, you move closer to the freedom of being fully yourselves, free, open, and alive. As you walk this path, remember that attachment is part of being human, but it doesn't have to be the story that controls you. You have the power to choose differently. Embrace the teachings of Buddhism not as strict rules, but as loving guides, helping you unravel the ties that no longer serve you. In doing so, you honor your true self and find your way back to a life that feels whole and meaningful. Step by step, day by day, let the roots of attachment loosen. Feel the bird lift its wings. Know that you are already on your way to never losing yourself again. The nature of the self, Anatta explained. Imagine holding a handful of water. No matter how tightly you try to grasp it, some of it slips through your fingers. You may think you are holding on to something solid, but what you have is ever-changing, flowing. This simple image helps us understand a deep idea in Buddhism called anatta, often translated as not self or no fixed self. It tells us that who we are is not a solid, unchanging thing, but a changing, flowing process. This teaching can feel strange or even scary at first, but it is also full of freedom and hope. Most of us grow up thinking there is an I, a single fixed self inside us that never changes. We see ourselves as a person with a name, a past, and a story that stays the same through time. We believe this I is separate from other people and from the world. But what if that I is not as solid as it seems? What if it is more like the water in your hand, always moving and never quite the same? Buddhism teaches that the self is made up of many parts: thoughts, feelings, sensations, memories, that come together but never stay the same from moment to moment. In one moment you might feel happy, in the next sad. You remember yourself as a child, but that child has grown and changed. Your body feels different every day. None of these parts alone is you, and none lasts forever. Together, they create the experience of you. But this self is not fixed or permanent. This teaching of anatta is deeply freeing because it helps us see that we don't have to be trapped by fixed ideas about who we are or what we must be. If there is no unchanging self to protect or defend, then there is no need to cling tightly to hurtful labels or rules. You don't have to be just the shy one, or the angry person, or the failure. These are all parts of the story you live, but they do not define your whole being. At first, it might feel unsettling to let go of a fixed self. After all, our identity can feel like an anchor in the world. But when we understand that the self is always changing, it also means we can grow, heal, and become more whole in ways we may never have imagined. We are not locked into any one way of being. We have the space to discover new parts of ourselves and to leave behind what no longer serves us. Imagine a river flowing continuously. You cannot step into the same river twice because the water is always moving, yet the river is still called the same name. In the same way, the self flows through changing moments, thoughts, emotions, and experiences that come and go. This flow is what creates life's rich tapestry. The challenge is to embrace this change, not resist it. Buddhism asks us to observe this flow with mindfulness, to notice how feelings arise and pass away, how thoughts come and go, and how the body feels right now. With gentle attention, we start to see the self is a process rather than a fixed object. This insight can help us loosen our grip on painful emotions like anger, fear, or sadness. They are not who we are, but temporary waves in the ocean of our being. One beautiful way to understand anatta is through the metaphor of a chariot. A chariot is made of many parts: wheels, wood, nails. Without the parts, there is no chariot, but the chariot itself is not one single thing. It is a name we give to this collection of parts when they come together in a certain way. In the same way, the self is a name we give to the collection of body, mind, and experiences. It is useful for communication but not a fixed entity. This teaching helps us grow compassion for ourselves because it reminds us that we are not broken or flawed selves trapped inside a box. Instead, we are living, changing beings with the power to heal and transform. When difficult feelings arise, instead of saying, "I am angry," we might say, "Anger is here now." This shift brings space and kindness. Many people find that embracing the nature of anatta helps them feel less alone and more connected. If the self is not separate and fixed but flowing and interconnected, then we realize we are part of a larger web of lives. We are connected to others through countless invisible threads of experience, feeling, and care. This connection encourages kindness and empathy because we see the shared nature of our human journey. There is a story from the Buddha's life that gently illustrates this teaching. A man asked the Buddha if there is a self that remains the same after death. The Buddha wisely did not give a simple yes or no answer, but instead invited the man to reflect on his own experience. How the body changes, how the mind changes, how nothing stays the same. The answer was that the self is like a flame passing from one candle to another, always changing but with a continuous flow. When we deeply understand anatta, we can begin to live more freely. We stop fighting against change or trying to hold on to things that must naturally pass. We accept that life is made up of many passing moments, each precious and full of potential. This acceptance helps reduce fear and suffering because we stop clinging to a false idea of a permanent self. In your own life, you might start noticing how the sense of I shifts throughout the day. You might feel confident in one moment and uncertain in another. You might feel connected to a part of yourself you hadn't known before. This is the living truth of anatta. The self is not one thing but many things in constant flow. This understanding encourages us to be gentle with ourselves. It is okay to change, to grow, to make mistakes, to feel many things. We are not failing if we don't fit into a fixed image. We are simply living as we are meant to: motion, life, and openness itself. As you continue this journey of discovery, remember that the nature of self is not a puzzle to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. Each moment offers a chance to see yourself more clearly, to accept what is, and to open your heart wider. Through the wisdom of anatta, you step closer to never losing yourself again, because you learn that in the flow of life, the self is always present, always changing, always you. This moment right now is who you are, and that is enough. Suffering and the path to freedom. Imagine walking through a dense forest with thick fog all around. It's hard to see far ahead, and every step feels heavy and uncertain. This fog is like suffering. Sometimes it covers our hearts and minds so completely that we don't know where to go or how to find peace. But even in the darkest woods, there is always a path, one that leads us out into light and freedom. In Buddhism, understanding suffering and learning how to walk the path to freedom is at the very heart of the teaching. It is a journey that anyone can take, no matter where they are in life, and it begins with gentle awareness and a warm heart. Suffering is a word that might make us uncomfortable or sad, but it's also deeply true. Everyone experiences suffering in some form. Pain, loss, disappointment, loneliness, fear, or confusion. Sometimes suffering is loud and obvious, like grief when we lose someone dear. Other times, it is quiet and hidden, a subtle heaviness inside that we don't always notice right away. This is normal and part of being human. The Buddha called this suffering dukkha and said it arises because of our desires, attachments, and misunderstandings about life. We often think suffering is just about pain or sorrow, but it runs deeper. Even when things seem good, there can be a subtle unrest, a feeling that something is missing or not quite right. This happens because everything in life is impermanent. Joy, success, health, relationships, they all change. When we expect life to be steady or perfect, we set ourselves up for suffering because reality doesn't work that way. The first truth the Buddha spoke about is that suffering exists, but this is not a message of hopelessness. It is an honest recognition of what life includes. The second important truth is that suffering has causes. It is not random or meaningless. At its root, suffering grows from our cravings, wanting things to be different than they are, holding on tightly to people, moments, feelings, or outcomes. These cravings create tension and dissatisfaction because life naturally flows and changes. Imagine trying to hold water tightly in your hands. You only hurt yourself and lose the water anyway. This is how our desires can cause suffering. Thirdly, the Buddha taught that there is a way to end suffering. It is not about avoiding life's challenges or pretending they don't exist. Instead, it means understanding the nature of suffering and gently turning toward it with wisdom and compassion. It is a process of unraveling the cravings and attachments so we can find healing and peace. This hope, the possibility of freedom, is what sustains us on this path. The fourth truth is the path itself, known as the Noble Eightfold Path. It is a guide made of simple but powerful steps to help us live wisely and kindly. These steps encourage us to see clearly, act with kindness, speak truthfully, and nurture our minds through practice and reflection. The path is not a quick fix but a lifelong journey, like a steady walk through the forest that leads us toward the light beyond the fog. Living on this path means practicing mindfulness, being present with our feelings and experiences without pushing them away or clinging to them. It means noticing sorrow without being swallowed by it, seeing joy without chasing it endlessly. When we learn to observe life's ups and downs with kindness, we create space for healing. Suffering begins to soften as we stop fighting and start accepting what is. One of the most touching aspects of this journey is learning to be gentle with ourselves. When suffering arises, it's easy to blame ourselves or feel alone. But Buddhism teaches that everyone struggles and that suffering is part of the shared human experience. This recognition opens the heart to self-compassion. Instead of harsh judgment, we respond to pain with tenderness, as we would comfort a dear friend. There is a simple story from Zen teachings about a person who carried a heavy burden on their back. Every day they struggled under the weight, feeling exhausted and lost. One day, a wise master asked if they wanted to set the burden down. The person replied, "I don't know how." The master smiled and said, "Just try. Begin by loosening your grip." This story reminds us that letting go of suffering is often about small, patient steps. Learning slowly to release what weighs us down. Understanding suffering and walking the path to freedom also means embracing change and impermanence. Nothing stays the same, and by accepting that, we become less afraid. When a storm passes, the sky clears and sunlight returns. In the same way, difficult moments will pass, and joy and peace can come again. This faith in the cycle of life encourages resilience and hope. Sometimes, suffering invites us to grow deeper insight and transformation. When we face challenges, we learn what truly matters. We discover our inner strength, the kindness we can offer ourselves and others, and the beauty of life's impermanence. Suffering, while painful, can be a doorway to greater wisdom and freedom. As you walk this path, you might practice simple reflections. When I feel pain, can I breathe and be present with it? When I want to grasp or push away, can I pause and soften? When the fog feels thick, can I trust there is a way forward? These small questions guide awareness and open your heart. Remember, this journey is never rushed or forced. Like the gentle unfolding of a flower, healing and freedom grow at their own pace. The path to freedom from suffering is a gift you give yourself, and each step brings you closer to peace and wholeness. You are not alone in this. Countless others have walked through their own fog and found light. The Buddha's teachings are like a lantern, offering warmth, clarity, and companionship in the dark. Trust in this path with patience and love, and you will discover freedom waiting quietly inside you, always ready to bloom. In every breath, in every moment, you have the chance to step toward that freedom, to let go of suffering bit by bit and never lose yourself again. Mindfulness, returning home to yourself. Close your eyes for a moment and take a gentle breath. Feel the air filling your lungs and then slowly leaving your body. Notice how simple this is, breathing, yet how often we forget to be truly present with this very moment. Mindfulness is the art and practice of bringing our full attention back to the here and now. It is a warm invitation to come back home to yourself when life feels scattered, noisy, or overwhelming. Think of your mind like a busy marketplace, full of sounds, colors, and people calling for attention. Sometimes it's hard to hear your own voice in that crowd. Mindfulness is like finding a quiet corner in this marketplace where you can sit peacefully and listen deeply to your own heart. It offers a chance to pause, breathe, and gently observe whatever is happening inside you with kindness, without judgment or rushing away. In Buddhism, mindfulness is not just a technique but a way of living. The Buddha taught mindfulness as part of the Eightfold Path, calling it sati, the clear awareness of each moment as it unfolds. This awareness is not about trying to control your thoughts or feelings, but about meeting them as they come, like waves on a shore, sometimes calm, sometimes strong, simply noticing their presence and letting them pass. Why is mindfulness so important to never losing yourself again? Because when life pulls you in many directions, demands, worries, distractions, it's easy to lose connection with who you really are beneath it all. Mindfulness gently anchors you here, now. It reminds you there is a stillness inside that is always available, a quiet space within where your true self rests. This space is not far away. It's right here, waiting for you in every breath and every heartbeat. Imagine you have been walking through a foggy forest, unable to see more than a few feet ahead. Suddenly, mindfulness is the sun breaking through. the clear light that reveals the path under your feet and the trees around you. With this clarity, confusion begins to fade, and you can walk with more confidence and peace. Starting mindfulness practice can be as simple as focusing on your breath for a few moments each day. You don't need to force your mind to be still. Instead, gently bring your attention back when it wanders. It is normal for the mind to jump or resist. The practice is to return again and again, like a loving friend who never gives up on you. As mindfulness deepens, you begin to notice more subtle things. How your body feels, the rise and fall of emotions, when your mind races with stories or judgments. This noticing is powerful because it creates space. You stop reacting automatically and start responding from wisdom and kindness. For example, instead of snapping in frustration, mindfulness helps you recognize the tension and choose a gentler way. One heartwarming story from Zen tradition speaks of a monk who was always busy with many tasks. One day, an elderly teacher asked him, "Where are you going in such hurry?" The monk paused but could not answer. The teacher said kindly, "When you are always rushing, you miss coming home to yourself." This gentle teaching reminds us that mindfulness is about slowing down just enough to be present. Mindfulness also helps cultivate deep acceptance. Life may not be perfect. There will be pains, fears, and mistakes. But mindfulness invites you to be with those moments instead of hiding or fighting. With loving attention, even difficult feelings soften and become easier to bear. Like watching clouds move across the sky, thoughts and emotions come and go. They don't control your true self. Another gentle way to practice mindfulness is to bring awareness to daily activities: eating, walking, washing dishes. When you pay full attention to these simple acts, life grows richer and more meaningful. Instead of being lost in distraction, each moment becomes a doorway back to yourselves. A reminder that who you are is not separate from the ordinary flow of life. There is a deep healing in this practice. When you live mindfully, your relationship with yourself grows warmer. You start to listen to your body's needs, honor your feelings, and respect your limits. This self-care is not selfish. It is returning to the foundation of your true self. It is planting seeds of peace, clarity, and kindness that will grow stronger with time. Sometimes mindfulness reveals patterns in your thoughts, stories you tell yourself that create suffering or confusion. It may show how worry about past mistakes or fear of the future keeps you from fully inhabiting the present. Awareness alone can loosen the grip of these patterns. You see them clearly and realize they are not you. They are passing clouds in the vast sky of your mind. This clarity opens the door to freedom. You begin to choose where to focus your energy instead of being swept away by automatic reactions. You gain the ability to connect deeply with the world and with others, without losing yourself in their expectations or judgments. Mindfulness is a bridge. It links the wisdom inside you with the experience outside. The journey of mindfulness is lifelong and full of gifts. There will be days when the mind feels restless and distracted. This is normal and part of the practice. The key is to be gentle. When you notice distraction, simply smile to yourself and bring your attention back to the breath or your surroundings. Each moment of returning is a small victory, a loving step home. A compassionate heart accompanies mindfulness. When difficult feelings arise, you greet them with openness. You might say quietly, "This is hard right now," or "I notice pain here." These simple acknowledgments create a comfort and presence that can transform your experience. The Buddha called this kindness metta, the love that includes yourself. Through mindfulness, you reconnect with the simple truth that you are enough, just as you are in this very moment. You don't have to fix yourself or prove anything. You simply have to be with yourself warmly and openly, which is often the most difficult and healing thing we can do. So as you walk this path, remember, mindfulness is your homecoming. In the midst of life's noise and rush, it is a gentle hand guiding you back to the quiet place within where your true self lives. Each breath, each aware moment is a gift, a chance to never lose yourself again. Trust this wisdom, and with patience and love, allow mindfulness to be the light that leads you back, again and again, to your own heart, where peace and truth are always waiting. Meditation techniques to rediscover self. Imagine sitting quietly beside a still pond early in the morning. The water reflects the sky, the trees, and the soft light, perfectly calm and clear. Meditation is like this pond within you. When you learn to settle the restless waves of your mind, you begin to see your true self more clearly. Meditation is a gentle journey inward, a kind and patient process that helps you find what might feel lost beneath the noise and busyness of life. It is not about forcing your mind to stop or becoming someone else. It is about gently coming back home to yourself, just as you are. When someone first hears about meditation, they often imagine sitting for hours, emptying their mind, or doing something difficult. But real meditation is simple. It is the art of paying careful attention, breathing deeply, and resting in the present moment. It's like learning to watch your thoughts and feelings gently, without grabbing onto them or pushing them away. This simple practice is a doorway to discovering the peaceful, steady self beneath all the chatter. One of the most accessible meditation techniques is called breath awareness. You sit comfortably, close your eyes if you wish, and bring your attention to your breathing. Feel the breath as it enters your nose, fills your lungs, and then leaves your body. You don't need to change your breaths. Just notice it as it is. When your mind wanders, as it naturally will, simply bring your attention back to your breath, again and again, softly and kindly. This returning is the heart of meditation practice. Each time you come back, you strengthen your connection to yourself. Another gentle method is body scan meditation. This practice invites you to slowly turn your attention through your body, from your head to your toes, noticing sensations without judgment. You might feel warmth, coolness, tension, or ease. The key is to be curious and kind to whatever you find. As you deepen your awareness of your body, you create a space where worries and stress can soften. Your body becomes an anchor that helps you stay connected with the present moment and your inner self. Meditation also includes loving kindness or metta meditation, where you silently repeat kind phrases toward yourself and others. For example, you might say, "May I be happy, may I be peaceful, may I be free from suffering." Then, gradually, you send these wishes to people you care about, those you feel neutral toward, and even those difficult in your life. This practice softens the heart and reminds you of your shared humanity. When you open your heart in this way, you deepen your connection to your own true self as a being of love and compassion. For many, meditation begins with just a few minutes each day. It's not about how long you sit, but how gently and regularly you come back to presence. Like watering a seedling, small moments of meditation nurture your inner garden. Over time, your mind calms, your heart opens, and you feel more grounded. You begin to notice that beneath worries and fears, there is a steady, peaceful space inside you. Your Buddha nature, your true self waiting to be found. It is also helpful to remember that meditation is not a competition or a goal to achieve. Sometimes your mind feels calm. Other times it is busy or restless. Both are okay. The practice is about embracing exactly what is here, without pushing or pulling. There is a soft power in simply being with your experience as it unfolds moment by moment. Life will not always be smooth or easy, but meditation gives you tools to face its challenges with greater peace and clarity. When stress rises, meditation helps you pause, breathe, and choose your response instead of reacting automatically. When sorrow or fear appear, meditation offers a kind presence that can hold these feelings gently without becoming overwhelmed. Meditation teaches us patience with ourselves, with life, and with each step on this path. In the Zen tradition, meditation is often called zazen, meaning just sitting. This practice calls you to simply be fully present, seated quietly with your breath and your mind. You do not need to believe or understand anything special. You only need to come and sit as you are. This simple act, practiced regularly, becomes a powerful way to reconnect with your true self and to find clarity in the midst of life's messy rhythms. A beautiful story tells of a young monk troubled by constant thoughts and worries. Frustrated, he asked his teacher, "How can I stop my mind from wandering?" The master smiled gently and said, "We do not stop the wind. We learn to sail with it." This teaching reminds us that meditation is not about controlling or silencing your mind, but learning to befriend it, to navigate your inner landscape with skill and kindness. As you continue to explore meditation, you might discover which techniques feel most comfortable and helpful for you. Whether it's breath awareness, body scan, loving kindness, or simply sitting quietly, each practice helps peel away the layers that hide your true self. Meditation creates space where healing can begin, where wisdom arises naturally, and where you are invited to meet yourself fully. Remember, the self you rediscover in meditation is not far away or separate. It is right here, steady, compassionate, and always present. The restless thoughts, worries, and fears are like passing clouds, and meditation shows you the clear sky beyond. This clear sky is your true nature, untouched by time or circumstance. With each meditation session, you are planting seeds of peace, clarity, and love within your heart. Over time, these seeds grow into a strong, calm presence that you carry with you throughout your day. When you face life's challenges, you have a peaceful center to return to, a home within that holds you with warmth and strength. Meditation is a gift you give yourself. A pause, a breath, a moment to meet yourself with kindness. It is a path that leads gently back to the heart's deep knowing. Step by step, breath by breath, you move closer to rediscovering the beautiful self that has always been there, waiting quietly beneath the noise. Believe in this journey, trust the process, and know that through meditation, you never lose yourself again. You simply find yourself more deeply each day. Detachment without indifference. Imagine holding a beautiful flower. You admire its colors, its delicate fragrance, and the gentle curve of its petals. You want to enjoy it fully, but deep inside, you know the flower will not last forever. You don't grasp it so tightly that the petals bruise and wilt, but instead you hold it with a gentle touch, appreciating it as it is, without fear or clinging. This is the essence of detachment in Buddhism. A freedom that does not mean turning away or feeling cold, but learning to love and live with an open heart, without holding on so tightly that suffering arises. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many think it means to stop caring, to be distant or uncaring, or to turn off emotions altogether. But the Buddhist view is very different. True detachment, or upekkha in Pali, is a deep kind of balance, a peaceful acceptance of life's changing nature. It is about being fully present with people, moments, and things, while knowing that nothing lasts forever and that clinging tightly causes pain. It is about seeing clearly and embracing life with courage and grace. Why is detachment so important to never losing yourselves? When we cling too tightly to anything, whether it is people, ideas, success, possessions, or even our own identities, we tie our happiness and sense of self to things that are always shifting. Life flows like a river, always changing. When we hold on stubbornly, like grasping an edge of that riverbank, we set ourselves up for frustration and loss. Detachment frees us from these chains without abandoning love or care. Think about your relationships for a moment. Loving someone deeply does not mean controlling them or being afraid of losing them. It means appreciating who they are right now and letting their freedom be just as important as your own. When you hold your loved ones in detachment, you can accept them fully for their growth, their imperfections, and their choices without trying to shape or trap them. This gentle space of freedom allows relationships to bloom with trust and respect. The same is true for our own experiences and emotions. When sadness, fear, or anger arise, detachment encourages you to feel these emotions without being overwhelmed or identified by them. Instead of, "I am angry" or "I am sad," detachment teaches you to say, "Anger is here" or "Sadness is present." This shift opens the door to healing and understanding. You do not push emotions away, nor do you drown in them. Rather, you observe and allow them to flow through you like passing weather. In everyday life, detachment helps you respond rather than react. For example, you might face criticism or disappointment. If you cling tightly to your image or desires, these moments can feel like attacks, causing suffering and harsh self-judgment. But with detachment, you recognize these experiences as part of life's ebb and flow, learning from them without losing your foundation. You can hold on to your inner peace even when outer circumstances change. The Buddha taught detachment as one of the four immeasurables, qualities that cultivate an open and loving heart. These qualities are loving kindness, metta, compassion, karuna, empathetic joy, mudita, and equanimity, upekkha. Detachment, or equanimity, is the balanced mind that stays steady amid happiness and sorrow, praise and blame, gain and loss. It is like the eye of a storm, calm and steady while all around is moving. A warm story from Buddhist teaching helps us understand this. There was a young monk who worried about losing all he cherished. He asked his master, "How can I be peaceful when everything I love might disappear?" The master replied, "Hold life like a starlit night sky, wide and open. Feel the beauty, but do not try to catch the stars." In this way, the monk learned to appreciate life's preciousness without grasping it so tightly that it hurt him. Detachment also calls us to look deeply at our own attachments, those often hidden places where fear and desire weave a web around the heart. Notice where you cling, not with blame or force, but with soft curiosity. Are you holding on to a painful memory or a hope for the future that steals your peace? Are there roles you play or ideas about yourself that limit your freedom? Seeing these clearly is the first step toward gentle release. Importantly, detachment does not mean losing motivation or passion. You can care deeply about your work, your dreams, and your contributions while practicing detachment from the outcomes. This means you do your best without being crushed by results beyond your control. When success or failure comes, you stay grounded and centered, less shaken by external ups and downs. In this way, detachment invites freedom. The freedom to love fully without fear, to act with wisdom without clinging, and to live openly without losing touch with your true selves. Is like a bird in flight that moves with grace, not weighed down by chains. Your heart can be soft and strong at once. Practicing detachment is a gradual unfolding, not a sudden detachment from life. Begin with mindful moments, perhaps noticing when you feel tightness or fear of loss, and consciously relaxing your hold. Practice breathing deeply into those moments, reminding yourself that change is natural and life flows in cycles. Another practice involves reflecting on impermanence, the understanding that all things change. When you see that everything you love and hold dear shifts like the seasons, you can cultivate gratitude for what is here now, without the burden of clinging. This gratitude opens the heart wider and supports peaceful letting go. Detachment also invites you to embrace uncertainty with courage. Life is full of unknowns. People come and go, circumstances evolve, and inner feelings ebb and flow. Instead of resisting or fearing this uncertainty, detachment asks you to welcome it as part of the dance of existence. When you accept the mystery, you move with resilience rather than against it. This freedom from clinging is deeply healing. It brings balance to the mind and heart, easing suffering and opening the door to joy. When you live with detachment, you find a quiet strength that allows you to respond to life's challenges gently, to forgive yourself and others more easily, and to cherish each moment fully. Remember, detachment is not indifference. It is not turning away from life but turning toward it with an open, clear, and compassionate heart. It is the warmth that stays steady through change, like the sunlight behind passing clouds, always present even when hidden. As you walk this path, try to hold your experiences lightly, like the flower in your hand, loving, present, and free. Know that this practice is a profound gift to yourself, helping you never to lose yourself again. With each breath, each moment, you step closer to the deep peace of detachment filled with love. You are learning not just to survive change but to live joyfully within it. Your heart is spacious and bright. Here, in this space, true freedom blooms. A freedom that holds all of life with open arms and a gentle smile. Compassion for self and others. Imagine holding a small, fragile bird in your hands. You feel its gentle heartbeat, its delicate breath, and you want to protect it with all your love. Compassion, the deep wish for others to be free from suffering, is like that gentle care. But often, we forget that the bird in our hands is not only the other but also ourselves. Compassion begins with turning kindly toward our own hearts as much as toward the world around us. It is the quiet power that heals wounds unseen and mends the spaces where we feel lost. In Buddhism, compassion is a guiding light that connects us deeply to ourselves and everyone we meet. Many of us are quick to offer kindness to others but harsh in the way we treat ourselves. When mistakes are made or pain arises, we may scold, criticize, or push ourselves away. Yet, the truth is, your heart deserves the same gentle kindness you readily give to a dear friend. When you practice self-compassion, you create a safe and nurturing place inside where healing can grow. It is not about pretending everything is perfect, but about holding your pain gently, without blame or harshness. Why is compassion essential to never losing yourself? Because when you treat yourself with love, you find your way back to your true heart. When you feel shame, sadness, or fear, Compassion softens the sharp edges of these feelings and opens a door to acceptance and peace. Instead of shrinking away, you lean into your experience with courage and warmth, acknowledging that every human being struggles and that this struggle is part of being alive. In the Buddhist tradition, compassion is not based on sentiment or fleeting emotion. It is a skillful practice called karuna. This practice means awakening to suffering in yourself and others, and responding with kindness grounded in understanding. It is like watering a garden, consistent, patient, and nurturing. Compassion grows with mindfulness because to care deeply, you must first see clearly what is happening inside you and around you. Turning compassion outward, it becomes a bridge connecting all beings. When you realize that everyone fears pain, loneliness, and loss just like you do, the walls between me and others soften. You begin to see others not as problems or strangers, but as fellow travelers on the same path, each carrying their own burdens and dreams. Your heart opens wider, and kindness flows freely without judgment, without expectation. Consider a time when someone showed you genuine compassion. Perhaps a friend listened without interrupting, or an unexpected kindness eased your heavy heart. Those moments remind us of how powerful compassion can be, not just for changing the world, but for transforming our own lives. When we offer compassion, we also receive it. When we soften toward another, we soften toward ourselves. Compassion does not mean you must fix every problem or carry all the world's pain alone. Rather, it teaches balanced caring that includes healthy boundaries. You can care deeply and still protect your own inner peace. Sometimes the most compassionate act is to pause, breathe, and nurture your own well-being so that you can show up more fully for others without losing yourself. An important part of compassion is forgiveness, both for others and for yourself. Forgiveness is releasing the heavy chains of anger, blame, and resentment that weigh down the heart. When you forgive, you free your spirit to breathe more easily. Forgiveness is not forgetting or condoning harm. It is choosing peace over pain, love over bitterness. By forgiving, you reclaim your freedom from the past and open space for joy and connection. In daily life, small acts of compassion ripple outward. A kind word, a listening ear, a smile offered without expectation. These are seeds planted in the fertile ground of your heart. Over time, they grow into a strong tree of loving presence that shelters not only you but those around you. Imagine how the world might change if each of us practiced compassion more freely. How loneliness might fade, how trust might deepen, how healing might spread. There is a beautiful story from the Buddha's life that captures the essence of compassion. Once, a woman approached the Buddha, overwhelmed by grief and anger toward a difficult person. The Buddha listened fully, then invited her to see that holding hatred only discomforted herself. Slowly, with gentle guidance, the woman's heart softened, and she found the courage to let go of resentment. This story reminds us that compassion is a powerful force for inner peace and renewed connection. Sometimes, showing compassion to others starts with understanding their suffering rather than judging their actions. When someone acts from fear, confusion, or pain, responding with harshness only deepens suffering. Compassion invites patience and curiosity, asking, "What lies beneath this surface?" This approach can open the door to healing for both parties. Self-compassion also teaches us to care for our needs without guilt or shame. When you rest when tired, speak kindly to yourself in moments of failure, or seek help when needed, you strengthen your foundation. This foundation of self-love supports resilience and helps you stay grounded even when the world feels uncertain or demanding. Practicing compassion with yourself and others is a lifelong journey, full of gentle challenges and profound rewards. Sometimes your heart may feel heavy, and the pain of another's suffering may overwhelm you. In those times, remember to breathe deeply and return to the present moment, the place where compassion begins. Compassion flows naturally from mindfulness and loving kindness. You can cultivate it through simple daily practices, pausing to send kindness inward during moments of difficulty, imagining yourself surrounded by warmth and understanding. Then, extend that kindness outward, like ripples spreading in a quiet pond, touching one person after another. As you deepen your compassion, you will discover a powerful truth: that the love and care you give to yourself and others never exhaust you but renew your spirit. Compassion transforms loneliness into connection, fear into courage, and loss into hope. It helps you hold your own story tenderly while opening your heart wide enough to embrace the stories of all beings. In the gentle light of compassion, you find your way back to yourself again and again, a self that is loving, wise, and unbreakable. You learn that to never lose yourself is to hold your heart with kindness and to hold the hearts of others with the same gentle care. May your heart be soft and strong, your compassion expansive and warm. With each breath, may you nurture this precious gift within you, the gift of endless kindness, for yourself and for the whole world. In this practice, you walk the path of true freedom, and you never lose yourself again. Breaking cycles, overcoming old patterns. Imagine you are walking in a garden full of beautiful flowers, but beneath them, hidden in the soil, are deep roots tangled and twisted. These roots are like old habits and patterns that we carry inside us, ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving that no longer serve us but keep growing quietly beneath the surface. Sometimes these patterns make us feel stuck, lost, or like we are repeating the same story over and over, even when we wish to change. Breaking these cycles is a gentle but important step on the path of never losing yourself again. Human beings naturally form habits because they help us survive and function. Patterns are like grooves carved into our minds by repeated experiences. When situations arise that remind us of past pain or fear, our mind often automatically falls into familiar responses, like anger, avoidance, worry, or self-doubt. These old patterns provide a false sense of safety because we know them well, even if they cause suffering. Imagine a small river that keeps flowing in the same path, eroding the ground beneath it. To change the course of the river, we need patience and effort to gently guide it toward a new direction. In Buddhist teachings, these cycles of repeated patterns and suffering are called samsara, the endless round of birth, death, and rebirth, but also the cycles of suffering and confusion within our minds. These cycles persist because of ignorance and attachment. We don't see clearly that our habitual reactions keep us trapped. The Buddha taught that awareness and mindfulness are the tools to recognize and gently loosen these knots. Why do we fall into the same traps again and again? Often because we are unaware of the roots beneath our actions. For example, when someone hurts us, we might react with anger or resentment, responses learned in childhood or from past experiences. These responses create new moments of pain, strengthening the pattern. Without mindfulness, we continue to act on autopilot, caught in old grooves that feel hard to change. Breaking free from these cycles requires more than just willpower. It asks for a deep kind of self-understanding, a warm curiosity about why we do what we do. Instead of blaming or judging yourself for these patterns, Buddhism encourages you to look kindly and patiently. Notice what feelings or memories arise when a pattern repeats. Are you afraid? Sad? Angry? Recognizing these feelings is the first step to healing. Imagine you have a thread tangled in a knot. Pulling hard will only tighten it. But if you soften your grip and gently work to unravel it one loop at a time, the knot slowly comes apart. This is how we break old patterns, not by forcing change or being harsh with ourselves, but by patient, mindful attention. Each moment of awareness weakens the hold of old habits. One helpful practice is to bring mindfulness to your daily actions and thoughts. When you feel triggered or find yourself reacting in a habitual way, pause and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what is happening inside me right now? What am I feeling under this reaction? Is this response helping me or hurting me? These questions help you momentarily step out of automatic habit and open space for choice. Another profound insight from Buddhism is the possibility of transformation not by rejecting our past but by embracing it with acceptance. Our stories and patterns often come from deep wounds or needs that were never fully met. When you recognize this, you can offer compassion to yourself in those moments of weakness and pain. Compassion softens the resistance that keeps patterns alive and plants the seed for change. Breaking cycles also involves recognizing that change is gradual, not sudden. You might try to shift a habit and find yourself slipping back many times. This is natural and part of the healing path. Buddhist teachings remind us that progress comes with gentle persistence, like water slowly smoothing hard stones over time. Each small effort counts, even if results feel invisible at first. A story from Zen tradition beautifully illustrates this. A young monk struggled with anger, feeling powerless to change. His teacher told him to practice every day, gently but firmly, to notice when anger surfaced and to breathe with it instead of reacting. Over time, the monk found that his anger became lighter, less frequent, and eventually opened space for peace. This teaches us that transformation happens moment by moment, with patience and heart. It is also important to understand that breaking old patterns doesn't mean rejecting all parts of ourselves. Sometimes patterns have served us in certain ways for protection, survival, or connection. Buddhism encourages a respectful approach, acknowledging what these patterns try to do for us, and lovingly choosing new ways that are healthier and freer. This acceptance prevents inner conflict and supports real healing. The path of breaking cycles invites courage to face difficult feelings, to question old beliefs, and to step into uncertainty. It also invites humility, recognizing that change is a process and that we all need support. You don't have to walk this path alone. Compassionate teachers, friends, and even your own inner kindness are allies when letting go of old habits. Buddhist meditation practices are powerful tools for this work. Through mindful observation and concentration, you learn to see clearly the arising of thoughts and impulses before acting on them. This awareness gives you the choice to pause and respond with wisdom, breaking old patterns. Over time, a new brain pattern is woven, one of calmness, clarity, and freedom. Remember, breaking cycles is not erasing yourself but rediscovering your deeper self beyond old limitations. It is about stepping out of the rules and stories that no longer fit and opening to who you truly are behind them. This is a journey of gentle courage and loving exploration. In everyday life, you might notice changes in how you relate to difficult situations. Maybe you respond with more patience, or you forgive yourself more kindly, or you take a step back before reacting. These signs show new patterns growing. Celebrate these moments as victories of your heart's awakening. As you continue to walk this path, hold this in your heart. Old patterns are not your enemy. They are the old maps you used before finding a new way. With mindfulness, compassion, and steady attention, you can trace new paths out of confusion into freedom. Know that every moment offers a new choice, a chance to loosen the roots beneath old patterns and to plant seeds of peace and presence. Step by step, breath by breath, you are breaking free and coming home to your true self. This journey is not always easy, but it is filled with hope and love. You are not defined by your past or your habits, but by the awakenings you cultivate today. Trust in your heart's capacity to heal and transform. With each gentle effort, the river of your life changes course, flowing toward the open sea of freedom. Here, in this space of presence and kindness, you never lose yourself again. Setting boundaries with wisdom. Imagine a beautiful garden surrounded by a gentle fence. This fence doesn't keep the light or the breeze out. Instead, it gives the garden space to grow safely and freely. In many ways, setting boundaries in our lives works just like that fence. Boundaries are not walls meant to shut others away, but gentle lines that protect your heart and help you stay connected to who you truly are. They guide how you relate to the world while preserving your inner peace and well-being. Many people feel confused or uncomfortable when it comes to boundaries. Some believe setting limits is selfish or might hurt others' feelings. Others find themselves overwhelmed because they haven't learned how to say no or protect their own space. But in truth, boundaries are acts of kindness toward yourself and toward others. They create clarity and respect in relationships, allowing love and connection to flourish rather than become tangled in hurt or confusion. In Buddhism, wisdom or prajna plays a key role here. Wisdom helps us see clearly what is helpful for our heart and what leads to suffering. Setting boundaries is an expression of this wisdom, knowing when to open your heart and when to protect it. It is a gentle practice of yes and no that keeps you grounded and true. Without boundaries, we risk losing ourselves in others' expectations, demands, or needs, which can lead to exhaustion, resentment, and sadness. Think about your own life for a moment. Are there times when you say yes, even though deep down you want to say no? Maybe you do it to avoid conflict, to please others, or because you feel guilty. Over time, these small moments can pile up, leaving you drained and disconnected from your own feelings. Setting a boundary doesn't have to be harsh or loud. It can be a quiet, clear, and loving way of saying, "This is what I need to care for myself." It is saying, "I matter and so do my feelings." Boundaries can take many forms. Sometimes it means saying no to extra work when you are tired. Sometimes it means speaking honestly about how you feel in a relationship. Sometimes it is making space to rest, to think, or to be alone without guilt. Whatever shape it takes, boundaries allow you to protect your energy and maintain your sense of self. The Buddha taught the middle way, finding balance in all things. Boundaries are part of this balance. They are not rigid walls that isolate you, nor are they flimsy lines you wish would disappear. They are living, flexible, and responsive, like the branches of a tree that bend with the wind but do not break. Healthy boundaries adapt as needed but keep your roots strong. Sometimes setting boundaries involves facing fear, the fear of disappointing others, the fear of being rejected, or the fear of loneliness. These fears are natural and valid, but they do not have to control you. Compassion for yourself is your greatest ally here. When you notice these fears, breathe gently and remind yourself that your well-being is important. You deserve to be cared for, first by yourself. An important part of healthy boundaries is clear communication. This doesn't mean you must explain or justify yourself endlessly. It means speaking kindly, honestly, and with respect for both your needs and the feelings of others. For example, you might say, "I can't take on this right now because I need to rest." Or, "I feel overwhelmed when conversations go on late at night. Can we talk during the day?" Simple, gentle words like these often open understanding and encourage others to respect your space. Boundaries may sometimes be tested by family, friends, or even ourselves. It is common to feel doubt or guilt, especially if you are used to putting others first. Buddhist practice teaches mindfulness to notice these feelings without becoming overwhelmed by them. Mindfully observing emotions as they arise gives you the power to choose your actions rather than react unconsciously. The practice of metta, or loving kindness, supports boundaries as well. With loving kindness, you hold both yourself and others in a gentle embrace. You recognize that everyone has needs and feelings, including you. Setting a boundary is not about shutting others out, but about respecting the dance of relationship with kindness and clarity. There is a story from Buddhist tradition that illustrates the power of wise boundaries. A monk was known for his kindness and generosity, always helping others. One day, a fellow monk approached and asked, "How do you give so much without losing yourselves?" The first monk smiled and replied, "I give water from a cup. If I keep pouring without refilling, the cup runs dry. I protect my cup first, so that I can pour again and again." This teaches us that caring for ourselves is the foundation for caring for others. Boundaries also honor the sacredness of your inner world. Your time, energy, and emotions are precious resources. When you guard them with tenderness, you create a safe place inside yourselves, a home where your true self can rest, grow, and shine. Without this inner sanctuary, life's demands can wear you down and cloud the light inside. In relationships, boundaries cultivate respect and trust. When you openly share your needs and limits, you invite others to do the same. This honesty nurtures connection on a deeper level because it is based on truths. People who love and care for you will cherish your boundaries because they come from a place of self-respect and love. Sometimes, learning to set boundaries includes saying no to societal pressures or cultural expectations that don't fit who you truly are. The world often teaches that doing more, pleasing others, or constant giving is virtuous. While kindness and generosity are beautiful, they lose their meaning if they cost your own well-being. Wisdom guides you to find your own path, honoring what your heart truly needs, even if it means stepping away from some expectations. Practicing boundaries is a journey. There may be days when it feels easier and days when old patterns pull you back. This is natural. Be patient and forgiving with yourself. Every moment you choose a boundary, you step closer to living your truth and staying connected to yourself. Reflect for a moment. How would your life change if you treated your heart like that precious garden, with tender fences that protect its peace and beauty? What freedom might arise when you lovingly say yes to yourself and yes to others in balanced, aware ways? As you walk forward, remember this: setting boundaries is not about separating yourself from the world. It is about engaging with the world from a place of strength, clarity, and love. It is one of the most caring gifts you can offer to yourself and to those you meet. With each gentle boundary you create, you invite peace, respect, and freedom to blossom in your lives. Like the garden fenced softly against the winds, your heart is safe, open, and growing in its full beauty. You are learning to protect your space with wisdom and warmth, so you never lose yourself again. Each step is a loving step home. The power of silence and solitude. Imagine a quiet lake in the early morning, its surface smooth like glass, reflecting the sky with gentle clarity. There are no ripples, no noise, just stillness. In this stillness, the lake reveals its true beauty, untouched by the chatter of wind or movement. Silence and solitude in our lives are much like this lake, spaces where our restless minds can settle and our hearts can be heard clearly. They are gifts that help us reconnect with ourselves and the wisdom already quietly present inside. In today's busy world, silence can feel rare or even uncomfortable. We fill our days with noise, distractions, and endless activity, afraid to face the quiet or be alone with our thoughts. Yet, silence is not emptiness or loneliness. It is a sacred space, a place where healing, reflection, and self-understanding grow deeply. Just as a seed needs fertile soil to sprout, our true self needs moments of stillness to blossom. When you embrace silence, you create a pause in the constant rushing of life. This pause invites you to listen deeply to your heartbeat, your breath, your thoughts, and your feelings. In this listening, you come home to yourself. You remember who you are beyond rules, worries, and busyness. The noisy outside world fades, and the gentle voice inside speaks clearly. Solitude, or being alone without distraction, is often misunderstood as loneliness or isolation. But in Buddhist practice, solitude is a loving act of self-care, a time to rest with yourself as your best companion. When you spend time alone, you can observe your mind and heart more openly. You can notice thoughts and emotions without trying to change or judge them. This awareness opens a door to understanding patterns and habits that keep you separated from your true self. One of the Buddha's most important teachings is that wisdom arises in silence. When we stop talking, acting, or reacting, we create room for insight to appear naturally, like a flower slowly unfolding in the quiet dawn. Understanding unfolds gently in the stillness of your presence. Silence is not just the absence of noise, but the presence of awareness. It's natural to feel unsettled in silence at first. Our minds may race, worries may surface, or feelings we've been avoiding may come up. This is a sign that something inside is ready to be seen and heard. Rather than fearing these moments, treat them like old friends arriving for a visit. Welcome them with kindness and curiosity. Over time, you will find that these moments become your teachers, guiding you toward freedom. In the Buddhist tradition, monks often retreat to the forest, caves, or quiet places to cultivate silence and solitude. These retreats are not escapes but invitations to deepen when you feel peaceful and touch the stillness, even if just for a short all experiences. Perhaps it was most of us live in busy environments, listening to the rain. We can bring the spirit or sitting quietly to simple daily practices. In those moments, like you connected to something beyond words, walking alone mindfully that renewed or your turning off distractions. This is the power of silence, whispering its gentle truths. Silence and solitude also help us heal from the noise of judgment, both from others and from ourselves. In a quiet heart, harsh self-criticism softens and self-acceptance grows. You begin to see that the stories you tell yourself about who you should be lose their grip. There is space for mistakes, for growth, and for simply being. In this open space, your true self shines without the need for masks or defenses. This practice nurtures a deep trust in life and in your own inner wisdom. When faced with confusing choices or difficult emotions, returning to silence offers clarity. You learn to listen with patience and trust the guidance that arises naturally, rather than rushing to fix or push away problems. The answers often come softly, like the first light of dawn. Even brief moments of silence can transform your day. Consider taking a quiet pause before you begin a task, or a few deep breaths of silence when stress arises. These small acts are like rest stops on your journey, refreshing your mind and spirit and preventing you from getting lost in the noise. With regular practice, you build a habit of returning to your center, the calm lake inside that reflects peace and wisdom. One beautiful teaching from Zen Buddhism describes silence as the great teacher. In silence, words fall away, but understanding deepens. The Buddha himself sat silently under the Bodhi tree, embracing stillness until awakening. This story shows us that true knowledge is found not in endless talking or chasing answers, but in quiet, patient presence. Solitude also invites you to meet your own heart without distraction. Like sitting with a dear friend, you can learn to accept your feelings, fears, hopes, and dreams with kindness. This gentle companionship strengthens self-love and heals wounds that busyness and noise often hide. It is a sacred dialogue between you and your own spirit. The power of silence and solitude is also in how they improve our relationships. When you cultivate calm and presence within, you can listen more deeply to others, respond with more patience, and express yourself more clearly. You don't lose yourself in others' expectations but stay grounded in your truths. This grounding creates trust and genuine connection. It's important to know that this journey toward silence and solitude is gradual and personal. There will be days when silence feels inviting and peaceful, and days when it feels heavy or scary. Both are part of the path. Be patient and gentle with yourself. Like a garden, sometimes the soil must rest before new growth can flourish. If sitting in silence feels difficult, try simpler steps. A mindful walk in nature, a few moments noticing the sound of your breath, or even turning off your phone for a brief time. These small acts build a bridge to deeper stillness, making silence a friend rather than a stranger. Remember that silence is not emptiness. It is fullness, fullness of presence, love, and understanding. It is in the quiet spaces that your heart can heal, your mind can rest, and your true self can emerge clear and strong. As you embrace the power of silence and solitude, you gift yourself the chance to never lose yourself again. Like a calm lake reflecting the sky, you come to know your own depth, your own clarity, and your own light. Trust in the silence. Welcome solitude as a loving friend. In their gentle embrace, you find the home of your deepest selves, a home of peace, wisdom, and endless compassion, always waiting for you to return. Letting go, accepting impermanence. Imagine holding a handful of sand at the beach. You try to hold it tightly, wanting the grains to stay in your palm forever. But no matter how strong your grip, the sand slips slowly through your fingers and falls back to the earth. This simple experience holds a deep truth about life. Nothing lasts forever. Everything changes and moves in its own time. In Buddhism, this truth is called impermanence or anicca. Learning to let go and accept impermanence is a gentle yet powerful practice that helps you find peace and never lose yourself again. From the moment we are born, life is a river flowing forward. People, places, feelings, and situations come and go like waves on the shore. Sometimes we resist this change because it feels scary or painful. We want to keep good moments forever and hold tightly to the people and things we love. But this holding only creates suffering, like gripping the sand too tightly. The tighter you hold, the more pain you feel when it slips away. Buddhist teachings remind us that clinging to permanence is an invitation to suffering. When we expect things to stay the same, we live in fear of loss. We may try to freeze time, control others, or grasp onto memories and identities as if they were solid and unchanging. In reality, everything is in motion. Our bodies age, feelings shift, relationships transform, and life unfolds with surprises we cannot always predict. Accepting impermanence doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means opening your heart with courage to the flow of life, welcoming each moment as it comes and letting it go when it's time. This is the art of letting go. It is a loving practice of release that frees your heart from the heavy burden of resistance. Picture a tree that blooms with vibrant leaves in spring, lets them fall in autumn, and rests quietly in winter. The tree does not fight or cling to any season. Instead, it flows with nature and is renewed again and again. This is a beautiful example of how we can live with impermanence, embracing the cycles with grace rather than struggle. Letting go begins with awareness. Mindfulness helps you notice where you are holding tightly, maybe to an idea about your life, a relationship, a past mistake, or a hope for the future. When you gently bring attention to these attachments, you create space for change. Sometimes this space invites sadness or fear, and that's okay. Allow these feelings to be there without judgment. They are part of the healing journey. There is a gentle strength in accepting impermanence because it teaches us that pain and joy both come and go. When sorrow arises, knowing it will pass can bring comfort. When joy blooms, knowing its preciousness deepens appreciation. You learn to cherish moments fully, not because they will last forever, but because they are unique gifts of this very now. A story from Buddhist wisdom tells of a monk who received a beautiful lotus flower every day. At first, he clung to the flower, afraid it would be taken away. But one day, the flower wilted and fell. The monk felt deep sadness but then realized that the flower was never truly his to keep. In letting go, his heart opened wider and he found peace beyond possession. Peace that lives in freedom, not in grasping. Letting go also includes releasing fixed ideas of identity. Sometimes we cling to who we think we are, the roles we play, or the labels others give us. These attachments limit our growth and keep us stuck in past versions of ourselves. Impermanence invites you to see that you are not one fixed self but a living, changing story. You can let go of rigid identities and welcome new parts of yourself unfolding with each breath. This understanding encourages patience and kindness toward yourselves. Change can feel unsettling or slow. You may find yourself wanting to hold on just a little longer or fearing the unknown. In these moments, remind yourself that letting go is a process, a tender dance, not a race. Like peeling layers of an onion carefully, you reveal your true essence beneath what no longer serves you. Buddhism teaches that embracing impermanence helps us find true freedom. When you release the need to control life's flow, you liberate your heart from worry and resistance. You become like water, flexible, resilient, and able to adapt to whatever comes. This doesn't mean giving up or losing passion. It means loving life with open hands and a clear mind. Daily life gives countless opportunities to practice letting go. Maybe it's releasing a hurtful memory, forgiving someone, accepting a change in a relationship, or simply letting go of the desire for things to be perfect. Each practice, no matter how small, strengthens your capacity to flow with life and stay centered in your true self. Sometimes we fear letting go because we think it means losing control or disappearing into nothingness. But Buddhist wisdom shows us that letting go is actually finding a deeper, more vibrant self beneath the surface, one not burdened by grasping or fear. It is a self free to be alive, present, and whole. You can support this journey with simple reflections like, what am I holding onto that causes me pain? What would happen if I allowed this to go, even just a little? How can I welcome change as a friend rather than an enemy? These questions open the door to transformation and gentle healing. Meditation and mindfulness are powerful tools to cultivate acceptance of impermanence. Sitting quietly, watching your breath, and noticing the arising and passing of thoughts and sensations remind you that all things flow and nothing stays fixed. This deep experience trains your heart to soften and your mind to rest in the natural flow. There is also great comfort in knowing that impermanence connects us all. Every being shares this journey of change, birth, growth, decay, and renewal. This shared experience can bring a profound sense of belonging and compassion. We are not alone in flowing with life's rhythms. We are part of a vast, ever-changing web of existence. In embracing impermanence, you cultivate gratitude for the present moment. Each breath, each smile, each tear is precious because it is fleeting. This awareness enriches your experience, coloring life with beauty and depth often missed when we cling. Remember, letting go is not about losing yourself but about shedding what hides your true light. It is about opening wide to the freshness of each moment and seeing clearly the endless potential within you. With each release, space grows in your heart for peace, joy, and love to enter freely. As you walk this path, be gentle and kind with yourself. Change is natural and inevitable. It asks for courage, patience, and trust. Trust in the wisdom of impermanence and in your own capacity to flow with life's dance. This practice of letting go invites you to live fully, deeply, and with an open heart. Here, in this openness, you never lose yourself again. You find freedom, not in holding tight, but in loving life and yourself with hands wide open, forever unfolding. Let each moment teach you the art of release. Let your heart move like water, like sand slipping through fingers, like the blossoming and falling of flowers. In this beautiful letting go, your true self shines bright and free, cultivating inner strength and resilience. Imagine a mighty tree standing tall through every season, bending gently in the wind, stretching its roots deep into the earth, and reaching toward the sky with steady branches. This tree is strong, not because it resists every storm, but because it has learned to grow with life's challenges and find its balance again and again. In our lives, cultivating inner strength and resilience is like growing that tree within ourselves. It is a warm, steady power that helps us keep going even when times are tough, and it arises from kindness, awareness, and trust in our own spirit. Inner strength is not about being perfect, tough, or never feeling pain. It is about embracing all parts of yourself, the light and the shadow, the joy and the struggle, with open heart and steady breath. Resilience means being able to recover from difficulties, to rise after falling, and to keep moving forward with courage and grace. It is not a force that ignores suffering but one that faces it honestly and tenderly. From the Buddhist perspective, inner strength grows naturally when we practice mindfulness and compassion. When you learn to meet yourself with kindness, especially when you feel weak or overwhelmed, you create a foundation that supports you during hardships. Instead of fighting or hiding from your feelings, resilience invites you to welcome them as teachers, helping you grow wiser and more whole. Think about times in your own life when you faced a challenge, maybe a loss, a disappointment, or an unexpected change. Often, these moments feel unbearable at first, like a heavy weight on your chest or a storm in your mind. But with time, you may have noticed a quiet strength inside that helped you carry on. Even if it was just one small breath or one gentle thought, this quiet power is already there inside you, waiting to be nurtured. Building resilience is like tending a garden. It takes patience, attention, and care. One way to cultivate this strength is to practice mindfulness, being present with each moment, no matter how difficult. When pain or fear arises, mindfulness helps you observe these feelings without being swept away. You learn to feel the storm without losing your center, like the tree that sways but does not break. Another important source of inner strength is self-compassion. When you treat yourself kindly during hard times, you create a safe space within your heart. Instead of pushing yourself to be perfect or strong at all costs, you acknowledge your limits and needs with gentleness. This kindness itself becomes a powerful energy that supports healing and courage. Resilience is also nourished by acceptance. Acceptance does not mean giving up or resigning yourself to suffering. Instead, it is seeing things clearly as they are, without adding extra layers of judgment or resistance. When you accept life's ups and downs with patience, you save precious energy and open the door to peace. The tree does not resist the changing seasons. It flows with them and stays rooted. Sometimes, cultivating inner strength means seeking support from others. Buddhism recognizes the importance of community and connection. Sharing your struggles with trusted friends, teachers, or loved ones reminds you that you are not alone. Their presence can be like rain nourishing the roots of your tree, helping you grow stronger and more resilient. A beautiful practice to develop resilience is called loving kindness meditation. This practice involves silently wishing yourself well, saying phrases like, "May I be safe, may I be healthy, may I live with ease." When done regularly, it helps build a compassionate relationship with yourself that deepens your inner resources. You can also extend these wishes to others, reminding you of the shared human experience and your connection to the world. In life, setbacks will come, just like storms will pass over the tree. Resilience teaches you not to fear failure or difficulty, but to see them as part of growth. Sometimes the strongest trees have grown in places where the wind was harshest. Your inner strength grows in much the same way, forged by patience, courage, and care. Buddhism also offers the wisdom of impermanence here. Because everything changes, difficult moments are temporary. They come and go like clouds across the sky. This truth gives hope and comfort, encouraging you to hold steady and wait for the clear sky beyond the storm. The path to resilience is not about rushing or forcing yourself to feel strong. It is about small, gentle steps, breathing deeply when overwhelmed, pausing to rest, reaching out for help when needed, and returning again and again to kindness and presence. Each of these steps is a quiet act of strength. There is a story from Zen teaching about a young seedling struggling to grow in hard soil. It seemed weak and fragile, but day by day, it reached for the sun. With time, it became a mighty tree able to weather many storms. This story reminds us that resilience grows slowly but surely, through patience and trust. As you cultivate your inner strength, remember to celebrate each moment of courage, no matter how small. Each time you choose kindness over judgment, presence over distraction, or hope over fear, You water the roots of your resilience and invite your true self to bloom more deeply. Your strength is not something to prove. It is something to gently awaken and honor. It is the quiet heartbeat of your soul, steady, tender, and enduring. With this strength, you can face life's challenges with an open heart and a calm mind, knowing that you have what you need to keep going. So, like the mighty tree, grow deep roots of mindfulness and compassion. Stretch your branches toward wisdom and kindness. Stand strong in the winds of change, and know that you are held by the earth and sky, rooted and free. In cultivating inner strength and resilience, you embrace a warm and lasting power that helps you never lose yourself again. Each breath, each moment, is a step on this tender path of becoming strong, gentle, and beautifully alive. Relationships without losing yourselves. Imagine two rivers flowing side by side. Sometimes their waters blend gently. Other times they flow separately, each following its own paths, yet together shaping the land around them. Relationships are much like these rivers. They invite connection, warmth, and shared journeys, but also call for care, balance, and respect for each river's unique flow. To never lose yourself in relationships means to find that delicate dance where closeness does not swallow your own identity, and love blooms with freedom and understanding. When we think about relationships, whether with family, friends, partners, or colleagues, we often want to give our full selves. We may hope to be deeply accepted, to feel seen and loved. This longing is natural and beautiful, yet it can also lead us to lose sight of who we really are, especially if we start to bend ourselves too much to fit what others want or expect. There, the gentle river risks losing its clear, true course under the weight of trying to please or avoid conflict. Buddhism teaches us to meet relationships with mindfulness and compassion, not only for others but also for ourselves. The first step to preserving yourself in relationships is learning to be present in the moment with honesty and kindness. When you are mindful, you notice your feelings, needs, and boundaries clearly without pushing them away or hiding behind masks. This awareness is like a light that helps you see when you are losing touch with yourself so you can gently come back. It is important to understand that healthy relationships begin with a healthy self-relationship. If you have care and kindness for your own heart, you naturally bring more presence and authenticity to your connections. You don't depend on others to fill holes inside or fix your pain. Instead, your love flows from the fullness of your own being, like a river that is strong within itself before it meets another stream. Sometimes we fear being ourselves fully in relationships because we worry about rejection or abandonment. We think we must be someone else, more accommodating, more agreeable, less difficult to be loved. But Buddhism reminds us that true connection grows from authenticity. When you allow your true self to shine, even with imperfections and vulnerabilities, you invite others to do the same. This openness creates trust and deepens the bond between you. Let's consider an example. You may find that in some relationships you say yes when your heart really says no, or you hide your feelings to avoid arguments. Over time, this creates tension inside, a silent friction that can dim your light. Recognizing this pattern is a gift, one that allows you to start choosing differently. Setting gentle boundaries, sharing your truth calmly, and respecting your limits does not push people away. Rather, it invites respect and clearer understanding. Buddhist practice encourages us to cultivate right speech, speaking truths that are kind, necessary, and timely. When you communicate openly but lovingly, you give your relationships a chance to breathe and grow. You also nurture your own sense of self-worth because you honor what your heart truly needs. Sometimes this means having difficult conversations, but these moments can be gifts of growth when held with patience. Another beautiful teaching from Buddhism is the idea of interdependence. Though we have separate selves, all beings are connected. In relationships, this means that your well-being and the well-being of others are intertwined. When you take good care of yourself, you bring more energy, love, and clarity to your relationships. When you show kindness to others, you also enrich your own heart. This mutual care creates harmony, not sacrifice. It's also helpful to remember that relationships go through seasons, just like rivers change with the land. Sometimes you flow closely with someone. Sometimes you need more space and quiet. These changes are natural and healthy. Allowing room for this ebb and flow without clinging or controlling brings peace inside and out. A story from Zen tradition tells of two trees growing close together in a forest. Over time, their branches intertwined, yet each tree maintained its own shape and roots. They offered shade, shelter, and beauty together, but neither tried to be the other. This story reminds us that in relationships, closeness does not mean losing your own shape or voice. It means growing side by side with respect and freedom. Sometimes, in relationships, past wounds or fears may surface. Feelings of jealousy, insecurity, or fear of abandonment. Mindfulness and compassion are powerful tools to come back to calm in these moments. Instead of reacting from old pain, pause and breathe. Bring kindness to yourself and the other person. Recognize that these feelings are temporary and do not define the relationship or your worth. In situations where a relationship feels unhealthy or draining, Buddhism teaches that it is okay to step back or create space. Walking away or setting stronger boundaries is not failure. It is an act of courage and self-love. Protecting your heart allows you to heal and grow, preparing you for healthier connections in the future. Being with others also invites deep listening. Not just hearing words but sensing the feelings and needs beneath them. When you listen with your full presence, you create a sacred space where understanding and compassion arise naturally. This listening honors both your voice and the voice of the other. Gratitude is another gentle practice to nurture relationships without losing yourself. When you appreciate the gifts, big and small, that others bring into your life, it shifts your heart toward joy and connection. Gratitude is like sunshine on the river, warming the flow and reminding you of the preciousness of shared moments. In every relationship, you have the choice to bring kindness to yourself and to the other. When difficulties arise, choosing patience over blame, curiosity over judgment, and presence over distraction strengthens your bond and roots you in your own heart. Remember that you are complete and whole as you are. No relationship can add or take away from your essential worth. When you live from this truth, you relate with freedom rather than neediness, with openness rather than fear. You may also find healing in extending compassion to your past relationship wounds, forgiving yourself and others, and embracing the lessons learned. Each encounter, joyful or painful, is a step on your path, helping you understand more deeply who you are and how you wish to love and be loved. As you practice care for yourself and others, remember that true connection comes from authenticity, kindness, and respect. When you live like this, you nurture both your river and those around you, creating peaceful currents that flow gently but powerfully through life. In the warm light of mindful relationships, you never lose yourself. Instead, you find new strength, deeper love, and the freedom to flow fully as who you truly are. Unique, complete and beautifully connected. Each breath, each conversation, each quiet moment of presence is a gentle dance of giving and receiving where your heart remains steady and true. Here, in the harmony of relationship, you come home again and again to your deepest selves. Creativity, work, and staying centered. Imagine a calm lake reflecting the sky. The water is clear, still, and peaceful. Now picture how even a small ripple can make waves across the surface. Our minds and hearts are like that lake. In the midst of busy work, creative projects, and daily tasks, it's easy for ripples of stress, distraction, and worry to disturb our peace. But what if, even while engaged in the flow of activity, we could remain calm and centered like that still lake? What if creativity and work could become ways to express our true selves without losing connection to our inner peace? This balance is not just a dream, it is possible. Buddhism offers gentle wisdom to help us stay rooted and grounded while moving through the active flow of life. It encourages us to bring mindfulness, kindness, and presence into all we do, weaving together the inner and outer worlds with care. Creativity is a natural expression of the human spirit. When we create, whether painting, writing, cooking, or solving problems, we bring something new into the world from the deepest parts of ourselves. Yet, the pressure to perform, to be perfect, or to meet others' expectations can cloud this joyful flow. The Buddha taught that attachment to results, the fruits of our efforts, can cause suffering. When we cling too tightly to success or fear failure, the creative spirit becomes trapped, and our work can feel heavy and burdensome. Instead, we are invited to return to the simple, loving presence of the moment, the act of creating itself. Imagine a gardener tending plants not only for the flowers that bloom but for the joy of nurturing life each day. In this way, creativity becomes a meditation, a dance of awareness, attention, and care. You do your best and then release attachment to outcomes, welcoming whatever comes with open hands. Work, too, can be a path of mindfulness and fulfillment. When you approach your tasks with presence, focusing on one thing at a time, life softens. You begin to notice the details, the sound of a pen moving, the warmth of sunlight through your window, the rhythm of your breath as you type or craft. This simple attention turns ordinary work into a doorway to peace. Instead of rushing or grinding through the day, you become fully alive in each moment. Sometimes work or creative projects bring challenges, deadlines, difficult people, setbacks. These tests can shake our calm. But here, Buddhist teachings remind us to cultivate patience and equanimity. When frustration arises, bring mindfulness to the feeling. Notice it without judgment. Take a deep breath and gently come back to the present. This moment-by-moment awareness opens space for wise choices rather than reactive stress. Another key lesson is about balance. It's easy to throw yourself completely into work and forget the needs of your body and heart. Like a candle burned at both ends, you risk losing your light. Buddhism encourages us to honor our limits, to rest when tired, to nourish ourselves with kindness, and to find joy beyond productivity. When you care for yourself with respect, you replenish your wellspring of creativity and energy. So work becomes a source of flow, not depletion. In daily life, this balance might look like taking short mindful pauses during work, closing your eyes briefly to feel your breath, stretching your body with gentle awareness, or reminding yourself why you do the work, not just for rewards but as part of your path. These small moments anchor you in your true self amid the busyness. The Zen tradition offers a simple but profound saying: before enlightenment, chop wood. carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. This reminds us that the sacred and the ordinary are one and the same. Whether you are completing a simple task or making a masterpiece, each action is an opportunity to be present, to connect to something deeper within. When creativity flows freely, it often moves from a place of ease and joy, not from struggle or forced effort. You might notice that your best ideas come when you are relaxed and open, rather than stressed or anxious. Mindfulness helps cultivate this relaxed presence, allowing inspiration to arise naturally. Sometimes, fear of failure or self-doubt blocks creative expression. The Buddha's teaching of compassion can turn toward those inner critics with kindness. Instead of silencing or fighting them, meet your fears like an old friend who needs understanding. Remind yourself that imperfection is part of being human and that each attempt is a precious step on your path, regardless of the outcome. Work and creativity also invite us to connect with others with kindness and respect. Collaboration becomes a shared dance where listening, patience, and openness deepen not only results but relationships. When you stay centered, you can respond calmly to challenges and nurture harmony even in hectic environments. In moments when you feel overwhelmed, return to the breath, your steady anchor amid waves. Remember that your worth is not measured by achievements or the volume of your output, but by your being, your unique presence, kindness, and courage in the world. Imperfectly, you are enough. A gentle exercise you might try is to begin your work or creative time with a mindful pause. Sit quietly for a moment, feel your breath, set a kind intention like, "May I do my work with ease and care," and then proceed with full attention. When you finish, take another moment to thank yourself for your effort and presence. In this way, work becomes a sacred conversation with life, a moving meditation where doing and being unite softly. You become like the lake reflecting the sky, peaceful within even as movements ripple across the surface. As you cultivate this harmony, you will find that staying centered helps you navigate life's ups and downs with grace. Creativity flows more freely, work feels lighter, and even ordinary moments become windows into the depths of your true selves. Remember, the journey is not about perfect balance every moment, but about returning again and again to presence, kindness, and openness in all you do. Like a river flowing through ever-changing landscapes, you keep moving with gentle strength and deep peace. With each breath, with each step, your creative spirit blooms and your work becomes a joyful expression of your heart. In this flow, you never lose yourself, you find yourself more deeply than ever before. Daily Buddhist practices for self-connection. Imagine starting each day as if you are planting a small seed in a quiet garden. Though tiny at first, with care and attention, this seed will grow into a strong, beautiful plant that nourishes your spirit. Daily Buddhist practices are like these seeds, simple actions that, when done regularly, help you reconnect deeply with yourself and the peaceful, wise heart inside. Life can often feel like a whirlwind of activity. Meetings, responsibilities, chores, busy thoughts pulling you in many directions. In this rush, it's easy to forget who you are at your core. It's like walking through a forest without noticing the path beneath your feet. But through gentle daily practices, you create moments of presence and care. Little pauses where you can touch your own heart and find your way back again and again. One of the most important daily practices in Buddhism is mindfulness, the art of being fully present with whatever comes, to your breath, your body, your thoughts, and your feelings. You don't need special time or place. Mindfulness can be woven into ordinary moments. For example, when you wake up, Take a few deep breaths and feel the life in your body. Notice the sensation of your feet on the floor when you stand or walk. When eating, savor each bite with attention. These small acts of paying attention connect you to yourself and the present moment. Beginning the day with mindful intention can set a peaceful tone. Simply sitting quietly for a minute or two, focusing on your breath, and silently saying, "May I be kind to myself today," or "May I be patient and peaceful," plants a seed of calm and compassion. This intention doesn't have to be perfect or scripted. It is the heartfelt wish for kindness to grow in your day that matters most. Another beautiful practice is gratitude. Taking time to notice and appreciate the simple gifts in your life, no matter how small. Maybe it's the warmth of sunlight, a smile from a loved one, or a moment of quiet. Gratitude helps shift our hearts from what's missing or wrong to what's alive and good right now. When gratitude becomes a daily habit, it softens worry and opens your heart wide. Buddhist teachings also encourage us to cultivate loving kindness, or metta. This practice invites you to gently send wishes of well-being to yourself and others. During the day, you might pause and silently say, "May I be safe, may I be happy, may I be peaceful." Later, you can extend these wishes to friends, strangers, or even those you find difficult. Loving kindness practice helps dissolve barriers in your heart and deepens your connection to all beings, including your own selves. Reflecting mindfully on your actions is another way to stay grounded. At the end of the day, you might take a moment to look back kindly over your experiences. Where did you act with kindness? Where did you feel restless or unkind? Without judgment, simply observe and learn. This reflection is like tending your garden, removing weeds of harsh self-criticism and nurturing the flowers of compassion and awareness. Simple breathing exercises throughout the day can also support your practice. When stress or distraction arise, pause and take slow, deep breaths, feeling each inhale and exhale. This reconnects you to the present and calms your mind. Breathing is always with you, a constant anchor back to your true selves, no matter what is happening outside. In Buddhism, moments of silence, brief pauses of stillness, are precious. Even a few seconds of quiet between actions can create space for awareness and peace. These quiet moments remind you of the calm center inside that remains steady through life's storms. Another daily practice is ethical living, which involves acting with kindness, honesty, and respect toward others and yourself. When your actions align with values that honor life and well-being, you feel more connected and whole. This alignment reduces inner conflict and strengthens your sense of integrity and self-respect. Sometimes giving your time and energy in small ways to help others becomes a practice of connection. Acts of generosity, whether a smile, listening ear, or a helping hand, remind you that we are all linked. These moments of giving don't drain you but often fill your heart with warmth. They help you feel held and holding at once. Daily Buddhist practices are not about perfection or rigid rules. They are gentle invitations to slow down, notice, and nurture your inner life. Even on busy days, small acts of mindfulness, kindness, and reflection accumulate into powerful seeds of transformation. There will be days when your mind feels restless or your heart heavy. On these days, give yourself extra kindness and patience. It's okay to rest and simply breathe, to come back slowly and without judgment. Like the changing seasons, your inner landscape flows in rhythms, sometimes calm, sometimes stormy, and all are part of the journey. Let me share a story from a Zen teacher that beautifully captures this spirit. A student once asked, How do I keep my practice strong in the midst of daily demands? The teacher replied, begin again every moment, like a fresh flower blooming. Don't worry about the past or the future. Just be here now with kindness. This teaching reminds us that daily practice is not a destination but a continuous returning, an unfolding of presence and love in each passing moment. Imagine how your life would feel if each day included moments of coming home to yourselves, a few breaths of awareness, an intention of kindness, a pause to appreciate beauty, a silent wish for peace. These moments build a bridge from busyness back to your true heart, carrying you gently through life's ups and downs. As you cultivate your daily Buddhist practices, you grow a deep connection with your inner selves, a connection rooted not in doing or fixing but in being present, being kind, and being true. This connection is a lasting home, a gentle refuge you can visit anytime. Trust in the simplicity and power of these small, steady steps. With patience and love, you nurture your garden inside, bringing forth the light, peace, and wisdom that are always with you. In this way, you never lose yourself again. Every breath, every mindful pause is a seed sown in your heart's garden, growing slowly into a life filled with presence, compassion, and joy. Embrace this practice as a gift to yourselves, a tender path back to the beautiful self you have always been. Conclusion: embracing your true path. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast forest just as the sun begins to rise. The path ahead is quiet and inviting, surrounded by ancient trees and the soft songs of morning birds. This path is your journey, full of unknowns yet filled with possibility. Through every part of this journey, you have learned not just to walk but to walk with an open heart, steady mind, and deep connection to your true self. Now, as we come to the final chapter of this shared path, it's time to wrap all these teachings into a warm embrace, helping you live fully and never lose yourself again. Throughout this journey, you have discovered many gentle truths: that the self is not a fixed thing but a flowing river, that suffering, though difficult, can open doors to freedom, that mindfulness and compassion are your faithful friends, that letting go teaches your heart to expand, and that through all challenges, your inner strength grows like a mighty tree. These truths are not distant ideas or lofty goals. They are seeds planted in your very being, ready to bloom in daily life. Life will continue to shift in unexpected ways. Joy and sorrow, certainty and doubt, connection and solitude. Yet, with the practices you have learned, you carry an inner refuge that holds you steady. You walk your path with awareness, kindness, and courage, not because life is perfect, but because you have found something within yourself that is unshakable, tender, and wise. Embracing your true path means living in harmony with these realities. It means accepting impermanence and change without fear. It means welcoming each moment as a teacher, understanding that growth is sometimes slow and often mysterious. It means recognizing that your worth is not tied to achievement, approval, or any external measure but comes from simply being who you are. Remember the gentle rhythms you have cultivated, the mindful breath returning you home, the loving kindness softening your heart, the courage to set boundaries that honor your soul, and the peaceful solitude where your deepest wisdom whispers. All these gifts are yours every day, like the sunrise and sunset, a natural rhythm you can return to time and time again. There is great beauty in walking your path at your own pace. No step is too small, no moment insignificant. Each act of kindness toward yourself and others, each breath of presence, Each quiet moment of reflection weaves a thread in the rich tapestry of your life. Through these daily threads, your true self shines brighter, calm, clear, and deeply alive. As you move forward, invite yourself to be curious about life's unfolding rather than resisting it. Trust that even when the way is unclear, your heart holds the map. The journey is not about perfection but about presence, not about arriving but embracing each step as it comes. This is the art of living from your true path. It's natural to have fears or doubts, wondering if you're enough, if you'll lose your way again, or if peace can really last. These feelings are part of the human experience and do not diminish your progress. When such moments arise, return gently to your breath, to your kind intentions, to the wisdom you carry. Remember that every breath is a new beginning, every moment an opportunity to choose love instead of fear, presence instead of distraction. Let me share a story from the Zen tradition to carry with you. A traveler arrived at the foot of a mountain unsure of the path ahead. A wise guide met the traveler and said, "The path is always here, beneath your feet, step by step. Trust your breath. Trust your heart. The mountain is climbed one mindful step at a time." Like that traveler, you walk your mountain not by rushing or forcing, but by steady presence and gentle courage. You may look back and see how far you have come, the moments of awakening, the lessons of letting go, the times you rested kindly with your pain. Each step has brought you closer to your true self, to a life woven with wisdom and love. Carry this with gratitude, knowing that every moment lived with awareness is a moment of homecoming. Before we part on this journey, I want to remind you, there are so many views on this channel but only 0.2% subscribed. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel Wisdom Woven. Your support is the gentle breeze that helps this sacred path reach more hearts searching for peace and truth. Together we can weave more wisdom into the world, one soul at a time. In closing, walk softly into your life with the soft strength of compassion and the bright light of mindfulness. Know that you are never lost. Your true self is always present, like the steady flame inside a lantern glowing warmly in the night. So, keep breathing, keep loving, and keep coming home to who you truly are. Never lose yourself again, dear traveler. Your path is here now and it is beautiful. With all my heart, I bow to your journey and honor your steps. May peace, love, and wisdom forever be your companions. This is your true path. Walk it with courage and grace.